All right, I'd like to call this meeting of the Whately Selectboard to order. I got 6:02 p.m. Um, I'd like to start the meeting off by asking if I could save my voice for votes and very short comments and let the Vice Chair, Fred, take over the agenda and run the meeting.
I
You
would
willing
be
to do that
happy
for
to.
me, Fred?
I'm happy to do so.
Thank you so much. Turning it over to you.
Okay, and you can whisper whatever you want, whenever you want.
Okay, thanks.
Uh, on the agenda, item number one, to review and vote on the meeting minutes from our meeting of March 26th. Any comments?
No comments from me. I move to approve the minutes.
I second, all in favor, Joyce,
Aye.
Julie,
Aye.
aye. Joyce, you can just raise your hand for
Uh,
aye.
I think I have to say something by law.
Okay,
Just croak.
yeah. Vendor and payroll warrants, any comments?
No comments.
No. Public comments, do we have anyone? No one in the audience here, no one online for public comment. Old business, we have the warrant for the 2026 annual town meeting to discuss. Have there been any changes?
Only change is. The survey to do the highway property has already been completed. We were originally going to appropriate the funds for FY 27. So in order to do this, the way I've worked it in right now, I have to verify with town council that we can do it this way. Is I've moved that from a capital project to a prior year bill. Because essentially we'll be paying an FY 27 for an FY 26 bill. And identified that we would still use the building stabilization fund, so that it'll still be coming out of the same fund. It's just moved to a different article. And any of those bills already required a 9/10 vote. A stabilization normally requires 2/3. It just requires a higher vote requirement, but it's all acted upon as one item. So it did get moved. It's not adding a new cost, it's just moving it from one article to another. Otherwise,
From which article to which article?
from the capital projects article, which is Article 17, it was
Okay.
then moved to Article 11.
Cool.
And then the only other change that I had to do. Did I wait? Oh, there's an article to close the ambulance stabilization fund. That fund has,
Roughly $21.
yeah. And so because town meeting created the stabilization fund, only town meeting can close the fund. We no longer need that. But
It comes from when the town had its own ambulance.
yeah,
Pre-scams, so we're talking 15 or so years old, that's considered there.
and that is Article 10.
Mm.
So what would happen is town meeting would authorize the closure of it, and then the funds will just go into the general fund, all $21.50.
$21.50.
Yes.
Heavens, Betsy.
So that's the only other change in here.
Okay,
Just out of curiosity, are any of you aware of the need for any other articles?
Don't wait to know me.
at the moment, no, but
Okay,
one never.
that's good. That's good. And again, none of the budget numbers are updated in here, so don't look at the budget numbers.
Okay,
The budget numbers that we give you at the FinCom select board meetings, those are accurate. I just don't want to update two different documents. Sorry.
And then have to update it again.
I will once, yeah, I will once finance does finalize the budget on May 11th, so that the version of the warrant that you see on the 13th, when you close it, will have the final numbers in it.
okay, so we're at the meeting, town response to recent national events. I'll let Julie take the lead on this.
Okay, at last I have written something, I've sent it to you all before we discuss I mean, before I read it aloud, does anybody have any changes, comments, questions?
The only thing is Joyce wouldn't have gotten this most recent.
There's just a sentence
Oh,
or two that's different. Yeah,
The only
Okay.
question I have is whether we want to discuss it now and have a discussion. Or have a discussion when Joyce can discuss.
oh,
Um,
is there a chat that you can type into?
No, we have
I
to check.
can, I'll just croak a little bit when the time
Okay.
comes.
I just want to be aware of your voice, and if you wanted to expound on this, give you the chance at the next meeting. If not, we talk about it now.
Yeah. Any croaking to be done?
Um, I haven't read the whole thing yet. It's been kind of a day for me. So, and I think the version I have here is draft 2.
And I
Um,
made
There was
very
an email
minor,
that said there were some minor changes, but it didn't attach a new document.
yeah, that was my error. Um,
Okay,
I took advice from somebody about, making minor amendments to talk about how we actually see the effects of federal actions in Whately.
okay,
So the third to the last paragraph speaks about how we see the potential. In Whately, we see the potential of ice raids. We see how the potential of ice raids and increased fuel and fertilizer costs are impacting farmers. I should say, and the community. We see the effect of cuts in education and research on residents whose lives are tied to the colleges. We see that cuts and threats of further cuts to Medicare and Medicaid will impact seniors and people with disabilities, and we see the impact of cuts to veteran services.
Okay. Should we read the whole thing?
Yeah, I'm happy to read
Yeah.
the whole thing.
I think put the whole thing on the record. Or
When ICE agents in Minnesota killed Renee Good and then Alex Preddy, the Whately Select Board decided to make a public statement regarding federal actions and their effects on us as a town. Sorry, that was just you clearing your throat.
Yeah.
I was like, what? And their effects on us as a town and on residents of the United States. However, as the weeks wore on, we realized we wanted to make a statement for our beliefs rather than a statement against actions and activities which changed on a weekly, if not daily basis. Tonight, we make both a statement against certain actions and activities and a statement for our beliefs. This week, the President of the United States openly threatened to annihilate a country and its people. He said a whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. Although the news changed again last night, giving us a theoretical ceasefire, the Whately Select Board stands against making any such threats in the name of the United States. Threats and actions like this are against international law, as well as we stand against the normalization of vast corruption, the destruction of ideas of truth and reasonableness, and the dismantling of American ideals and practices which have nurtured this country and its people for many years. We have been far from perfect, this country, but we have at least had higher ideals to try to live up to. Historian and writer Timothy Snyder says, as any historian of mass atrocity knows, there is no such thing as only words. The notion of killing a whole civilization, once spoken, remains. It enables others to say similar things. Whatever happens tonight, the president, by saying such things, has already changed the world for the worse and made acts of mass violence more likely. If we are Americans, he has also changed our country. He has changed us because he represents us. We voted for him, or we didn't vote and allowed him to come to power, or we didn't do enough to stop him. And I will say a lot of people have done a lot of things to stop him, but hasn't worked. These words are America's words until and unless Americans reject them. The Whately Select Board says, not in our name. We reject this false vision of America and we reject these threats. It might seem that we as a select board may be just a tiny David speaking tiny words against a Goliath. Although in truth, we are joining a collective voice of millions of people across America of all political persuasions to say, not in our name. Although some are pleased with the direction of the United States under this administration, a great many of us are dismayed to see what we thought of as American ideals and practices being dismantled, as the administration has tried to pull funding from schools and universities, from healthcare, from childcare, from national parks and lands, from agriculture, from food safety, from environmental protection, and has tried to hamper the press, freedom of speech, and freedom of religion. Although these actions are taken at a federal level, they affect each of us within our states, our counties, our communities, and our households. In Whately, we see how the potential of ice raids and increased fuel and fertilizer costs are impacting farmers and the community. We see the effect of cuts in education and research on residents whose lives are tied to the colleges. We see that cuts and threats of further cuts to Medicare and Medicaid will impact seniors and people with disabilities, and we see the negative impact of cuts to veterans services. We are heartbroken and infuriated by the various types of devastation happening across the country and across the world. As the Whately Select Board, no matter what is happening on a national level, we will continue to work to support our residents, to find ways to communicate with and understand each other, to work together for a better and more just future, and for a vision of America that supports equality, kindness, schools and universities, healthcare, access to healthy food, childcare, national parks and lands, environmental protection, and the unique right of each human being here to live freely and with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I will move that the Whately Select Board accept this as a statement of its views. But second,
I'll second that.
any further discussion or comments?
No.
Joyce, anything else to add?
No, I'm trying not to weep.
Move to a vote then. Julie,
Yes,
Joyce,
Yes.
yes,
thank
it is
you.
accepted. Jess, can you make sure it doesn't distribute to the press?
Yes. Yeah, I called Aliana today.
Okay.
And I will distribute it.
But for,
Or Jess, why don't you distribute it?
Okay,
right, to whatever press
Yeah,
out media
is
outlets.
this something we want on the website as well, or
Yes,
on
absolutely.
Facebook? What are you
Yes.
guys thinking?
Yeah.
sure.
The last time you did it, we did it as a news post. We could post
Yeah.
it there and that way it makes it easy accessible to the press too. We can direct them to that.
Right, but yeah, it should be,
So you're gonna go,
whatever media outlets we can put it on, it should go on.
Absolutely, I can do that.
Yeah. Would it make sense to,
go ahead, sorry.
would it make sense to send copies to our federal and state reps?
Yes.
Yes,
Shall I task you with that, my
I'm
friend?
all over it. Yeah.
You are.
I'm all over it. Yeah, no problem.
And I will just add on a very personal note that this affects my household because I'm a lesbian. And I'm married to a woman. And when people are trying to take away rights from gays and lesbians or are trying to get rid of DEI, they are impacting my household.
and my daughter's house.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
Well, thanks for putting that together.
Thank you.
Yeah. Our household is academic.
Yeah.
yeah, baby.
Okay, thank you, and on to the next item, new business licensing to review, discuss and vote on seasonal license applications and renewals. Have two to discuss.
Actually, one.
Just one.
So one is, the liquor license from Bonfont Farms, they're
Yes.
seasonal, and then the other is a common vic license for Simmers. However, they have not responded to my outreach, so I'm unsure of what their plan is for this year, and I will keep following up just to see, but, have not heard back from them, so it is just the Bonfont.
Any comments on that?
Not at all. I move that we approve the liquor license for Quanquan Farms LLC.
And I will second.
But- okay.
I'm gonna save your voice. I'll second.
Okay.
Any further discussion? Okay, vote, Joyce,
Aye.
Julie,
Aye.
aye. Mother's Day Half Marathon. The request of Sue Monahan, 1-day special event permit on May 10th for the annual half marathon. Application, we've got approvals,
All necessary.
all necessary from department heads.
Yes.
So we are the last to pass judgment on this. Any comments?
Sue does apologize for not being here. She's been here every previous time, but she did have a family item to take care of tonight, so she unfortunately wasn't able to.
She is quite forgiving.
I promised her that you've gone through this before. The outline is exactly the same, the procedure is the same.
I will move that we approve the application for special event permit for the half marathon on May 10th.
Second. Just wanted to give you the opportunity.
Any further discussion? Julie?
Aye.
Joyce?
Aye.
Aye. Same event. Need to give an application for a liquor license. Any comments? Nope. Forgive Sue Monahan for not being here for this one as well.
Aye. Go ahead.
I will move that we approve the 1-day liquor license for the May 10th half marathon.
Second.
Any further comment?
No.
Julie,
Aye.
Joyce,
Aye.
aye. Then for our general agenda, select board liaison updates.
Don't have much except that the Giving Garden Committee continues to ramp up for this coming year, and that's part of our aim to help and support the community. Some folks are donating, excuse me, lumber and soil for raised garden beds to be raffled off in a lottery. We have not put that together yet. We have a refrigerator, a non-working refrigerator that was donated that we are going to put outside where we can put probably mostly non-perishables in, so that we don't have to worry about things going bad, and also so we don't have to necessarily worry about bears getting into it. That we will also have a painting contest to paint that refrigerator and decorate it, and that'll be too as well. That's about it.
Okay. Joyce, anything?
Well, just wanted to alert people to something. You may have gotten an email. There'll be a tour of 8 Conway Street in Deerfield. Some folks from Deerfield want everybody to see that. It's kind of a transparent ploy to torpedo the prospect of moving the senior center to 112 Amherst Road. I would urge anyone who has seen the 112 Amherst Road facility, if they want to come and make the comparison, I think that's a good idea. This is, for the record, the first time that the Deerfield, the building committee or finance committee has invited anyone from other towns to come and make comments on their plans. So as it was our first invite, I thought it was important for us to show up, but I feel like in the past there's been a tendency on the part of the town of Deerfield, for just historically, to make decisions about 3 and 4 town entities and then kind of try and force that on to everybody else. And I think we need to push back on that a little bit. So if you have time to come on Saturday morning, it's 10 to 12. I certainly plan to be there. People from Sunderland are also planning to come. I think there's some principles involved here, and one big one is these decisions got to be made by three towns, not one. And the second principle is we got to compare apples to apples. And what we have will be an adequate space at 112 Amherst Road, not a luxury space. What they're proposing at 8 Conway Street will be, well, worse than what we have now, in my opinion, unless there's some change to how much they're willing to renovate. So I'm happy to chat offline with people about it, but if people want to come and see the place, that's an opportunity to do that and to give feedback to the folks in Deerfield who came up with this proposal.
I take it from your comment that this was not run through the Board of Oversight.
This is the first time the Board of Oversight has been asked to come see that facility.
That was good.
Yeah, the March 23rd meeting that we had, the night before was the first time the Board of Oversight saw the actual proposal as a PDF document, just kind of thrown in to the meeting agenda.
So it
So
wasn't included in the feasibility study options, et
they,
cetera, et cetera.
it was included as a feasibility study option. And there, we based our numbers for what it would cost to renovate on the feasibility study numbers. They have not said what they're basing their cost for renovation on. So I think people need to really question what it is that they think they can get for $100,000 worth of renovations to a building that needs $5 million worth of renovations.
I'll also note that the feasibility study had experts in space planning, engineering,
Yeah.
architecture,
Yeah.
evaluate
That's
what the
it
actual
does.
needs of the senior center and what those needs then translate into renovating the building as opposed to some questionable numbers about just doing minor modifications and without truly understanding the true space needs and programming needs of the senior center.
And also that they're just talking about modifications to the building,
Yeah,
not to the outside and things like parking.
Yeah.
Which is,
Hmm.
for that building, is not a
Yeah.
good situation.
Yeah.
Not a good
Yeah.
situation now, much less with programming, senior programming that would go in there.
Yeah.
And I would have issues between the parking issue and the fact that it is still adjacent to the police station with police cars coming in and out
Oh,
all the time.
Yeah.
Would not necessarily be I'm glad to, I will go over and look at it, see what they have in mind, but
Okay.
with the amount of money they're budgeting, it doesn't seem like they're gonna be able to solve any of these outside problems.
Yeah. My understanding is the people who are pushing this think that 112 Amherst Road is a luxury space. They think that the seniors should take whatever building Deerfield doesn't want and just put up with it, which is because that's what we've done in the past. So they kind of want to go back to that. And it's not worked. It didn't make the senior center grow. The senior center really started growing when we moved to 22 Amherst Road, which again, not a luxury space, but it was a much more usable and healthy space. So I guess to me it comes down to, do seniors think that they deserve an adequate senior center? Or do they think they don't deserve an adequate senior center and should just take 8 Conway Street with the lick of paint? Right? I think,
oh, if it's, sorry. If it's a senior center, if you're modeling it on the senior center in Northampton at all, a lot of different people of a lot of different ages use that space for a variety of different things. It's not just for seniors.
yeah, and technically 55 and older can be members. And others, not everything is only closed to seniors. For example, when Jim McGovern came, the senior center brought him to Whately Town Hall. That was open to the general public. So there's plenty of
Can
things that
people
they
rent
do.
the space?
Sorry,
Can people rent the space that
we're
you're
not
proposing?
we're not there yet.
Okay, yeah, just curious. Thank you.
Okay, Anything else, Joyce, before your voice goes?
No more progress on FCAT, but it's kind of things are going on in the background.
Okay, for my report, I'm gonna steal one of the town administrative update items.
That's okay.
And report that, South County EMS Director Joshua Sparks has submitted his resignation effective June 25th. A search committee for successors being put together. The Whately representative will be our fire chief, Chief Kennedy. He served in a similar capacity in the search committee when Chief Sparks was chosen several years ago. So his experience, ample experience in emergency services and in this particular interviewing process. The housing committee is moving along and is proven we have, I think, for the select board, a final contract for a soil survey for 268 State Road. The housing committee approved 2 nights ago with Berkshire Design Group to do the work. We've also had 2 resignations from the housing committee, so we will need, is anyone interested in serving on the housing committee? Where you've got an exciting project in the works right now. It was the earlier one,
Paula Jenkins.
Paula Jenkins.
Yeah, this was a couple of weeks ago, yeah.
So right now the committee is understaffed.
Yeah.
And we got 1 potential new member, but you still need another. And the building committee will be meeting next Thursday, working on primary item on the agenda. It's gonna be working at the prospect of moving the transfer station across the street to a spot literally directly across the street, across Christian Lane from where it is now. The town owns a small piece of property. There's another piece of property adjacent, which is at the moment inaccessible. It's under the slope of the bridge, the roadway leading up to the bridge across the I-91. And we're hoping that we can talk to the people who own that and acquire that. I would give us a 1 acre roughly location where the transfer station might be, and then we have to also negotiate with another landowner across for access to it. But all of these things are in the works.
On that.
Yeah.
I had a good conversation with our rep at DEP today about this idea. Just letting them know we're just exploring it, and she's going to assist to help us identify what steps we would have to do, because it's not been identified by the Board of Health as a site. It's not been site identified yet. So the DEP does have to go through this lengthy process. Then the Board of Health has to sign off on that. But she did also mention that the Franklin County Solid Waste Management District, Jan, can also assist us with this process. So I've also looped Jan in. Brianna is helping us. So they'll at least tell us what the steps are, and even if there are, she's going to look at the parcels jointly and based on setback requirements, because she already knows some of the limitations. So she'll let us know earlier whether this is a viable option. But I'll provide that to the.
Right,
Once I heard that.
we're coordinated, building committee is coordinating with the Board of Health.
Yeah.
So, and it also works into the highway garage, particularly with the transfer station. Then there may be additional area to work to build the highway garage where the transfer station is now. There are lots of moving parts here.
It's a puzzle.
It's a puzzle, and you just put one piece at a time. It looks like the first piece may be the transfer station. And, that's going to involve acquiring that other piece of property and getting right of way to it. And
Yeah.
it's all complicated, but I hope None of it is so complicated that it can't be done. Okay. Town administrator report. Sorry, I stole your one item.
That's okay. The board received a letter from the apartheid-free Western Mass Organization seeking support and a pledge. If the board would like, we can add that as a discussion for an upcoming meeting. If you had a chance to review that, feel free to review that letter. It's, probably 2 Fridays ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we can certainly add it for a discussion.
I have not added it to a select board agenda of the agendas we've discussed so far because there just is not a good thing for us to do.
Right.
There's no good option here, and
Yeah,
damned if you do, damned if you don't. So I think we've got so many other things on our plate. I would
Mhm.
think we don't want to put this on our agenda too.
Yeah,
Mhm.
okay.
This sort of the pickle that they got into in Montague. Yeah. Yeah.
You're muted.
Is it or something similar?
Or something similar, yeah, okay, well, I would concur with that.
Okay.
That's what I.
Absolutely fine. We received word from the Mass Department of Fire Safety that Whately was one of the communities to be awarded in the FY 26 firefighter safety equipment safety twice grant program. We'll be receiving $10,500, which the fire chief is going to use towards turnout gear and gas meters.
Yep.
Franklin County Technical School is planning to hold a district-wide ballot vote on October 6th for authorization from member communities to incur debt for the proposed Franklin County Technical School new building project. Each member community will need to hold their own ballot vote, with each community holding the vote on the same day. More information is going to be coming related to that election procedure, what the ballot language will be, and the scheduling for that process.
But just to be clear, it's one vote for or against, not
Yeah,
individual votes.
not each town.
Each town isn't one
We just have
vote.
to operate it.
It's just 27 votes feeding into one
collective.
one big tally.
Yeah,
Okay.
so yeah, it's not like Whately was pro,
Right.
Deerfield was against, all the votes get tallied together. It's just.
But I
each
think
town
this is instead of
clerk
having
has to-
one voting location, say Greenfield, and forcing
Yeah.
everyone to go there.
The turnout will
the
be
trust-
important on that one, right?
What's that?
So it's based on turnout for the votes, not on town population.
Right.
Correct.
Yes.
So turnout's going to be important for people who support the tech school.
The library trustees have selected their vendor to paint the community room on the lower level of the library. More information on the timing and access limits will be coming in the future. So the snow and ice, as you remember, the snow and ice budget has had to go into the red based on select board authorization to do so because of the very active winter season. Account 423 is now in a deficit of, actually, it's now $32,729.54. We received some additional invoices after I provided you the initial report. So we'll be looking at doing transfers in May. Generally in May, we look at what departments underspent and moving that money around because we can do interdepartmental transfers with a FinCom and select board vote. So that we don't have to take it out of free cash. So right now that's in arrears, probably about 33,000 for. So my understanding that we should now have all the last of the invoices, so that hopefully will be the value that we're looking at.
If they're not, there should be, but if there were not adequate other accounts and other departments that could be used, would that require a reserve fund transfer?
Yep. Yeah, that would be our next step is to go to reserve fund. And then an item that's not on here, it just came up the past couple days. It's a conversation that we had with Fred this morning, but you can tell there are a couple leaks going on in this building. One prime one that's leaking right now is here in the conference room. we need to we've now finished all of the solar installation. But we now need to repair, because unfortunately the repairs weren't done before the install was done. We need to get the repairs done, which likely will require removing a couple of the panels or a few of the panels once they identify exactly where the source is. I've already let the solar company know they will be on hand to remove those temporarily for the repair. I just got an estimate. The estimate is $7,400. We have $3,500 already appropriated in a previous town meeting for roof repairs. Because Brian had identified the issues before. They just weren't repaired, but we have a budget in there, $3,500. It does not cover the $7,400. So what I plan on doing now is next week at the FinCom select board meeting, asking FinCom to approve a reserve fund transfer for the gap in funding, and then the select board to vote on it and approve the estimate since it's over $5,000. If I get both votes, we can immediately then get the roof contractor out, because we need to get that repaired quickly so that the solar panels can go back on, and then we can finish the interconnection with Eversource, because we need to be online by the end of June. So we're on a little tight schedule.
And we should be able to do that at the joint FinCom
Yes.
meeting.
That's
We don't need
my
a
plan.
separate
No,
select board meeting for that.
I need to update the agenda, but there's plenty of time for an updated agenda to be posted, but that's my plan, is to get you both to sign or take both actions that night.
There might be less in that roof repair fund, because didn't we submit an invoice for a survey and use that part of those funds, the roof repair fund?
Survey.
Yeah.
Oh, the
So I
$8,
think-
$6.
It's 600, so I think there's actually 2,900, right? Instead of the 35, so it was 600. But just,
It wasn't in the most recent, but that's because it was only up until
Yeah.
March something,
just want
so
to make
it's
sure
probably just
you're
not.
aware of that,
Yeah, no, thank you.
Just
I
for,
was gonna, it's an estimate, so I was gonna ask for more money from the reserve fund
Yeah.
just in case.
Thank you for that update.
Yes.
The roofing company doesn't know exactly where the leak is and the severity, so that's why we have a general estimate, yeah.
that was gonna be my question. If they haven't been up there, how do they know the cost is gonna be $7,400?
Yeah.
They just know the locations of the issues, and based on their history of dealing with metal roofs, standing seam roofs like this, they've made it a general estimate. And also they know what they need to do for OSHA requirements for setup, and so those kind of costs they know definitively.
This is tight.
Yes,
This is the firm that does the roof at Frontier,
yeah,
and
and the elementary school.
the elementary school.
Yeah,
Oh, well, can't recommend that much. I mean, there's problems at the elementary school roof too, so.
Yeah, but it's not due to their work, it's due to the fact that it's
The
a,
original install,
it's a very old roof.
yeah,
Oh, I see. This is not the original installers of the roof.
no,
No.
Okay. Sorry, I thought that's what you said.
No,
Okay,
this is
I'll
the
shut up.
people who do the repair. work.
yeah.
Those places.
The ongoing maintenance.
Right.
Oh, but that's all for me.
That's it, okay. Our next meetings are April 15th, joint meeting with the finance committee, and then April 29th, select board meetings. Any items not anticipated? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn.
I would
Second.
second. Joyce,
Aye.
Julie,
Aye.
aye, we're adjourned.